Hi everyone and welcome to this video. In this video I'm gonna color Shoto Todoroki from My Hero Academia. As you can see I have the initial sketch ready and I'm gonna gently lift the graphite from the paper using a kneaded eraser, leaving the sketch intact. As usual I'm starting with the eyes. Coloring eyes is my favorite part of the entire process. I always draw the eyes narrower compared to the original design, just to make it look more fierce and realistic. Here I am using a black color pencil for the center of the iris, for the darkest part of the iris, dark grey and light grey for the rest. I tend to do more details on the iris part with tiny strokes, avoiding some parts for the highlights. You can use a white gel pen or sakura jelly roll for highlights at the end. I like to keep it simple, that's why I don't use those so much. Instead I use an X-Acto knife for small detailing work, like for the highlights. I don't leave the white part of the eyes uncolored because it's actually not completely white, so I'm adding dark and light grey to give it some depth. This way it brings some life into it, or else it just looks flat. Also I'm giving a light touch of blue since it's his cool side. Here I'm drawing the outline of his hair with dark grey. Let's move on to coloring the skin. Here I'm using dark brown for the skin where the shadow falls. If you've seen the original character design of any anime character, you must have noticed the separation between the darkest part of the skin and the light part of the skin. I don't like to keep that margin, that's why I'm using a cream sort of color here to blend out the darkest part of the skin and the light part of the skin. Also make sure there's a gradual shift from the darkest part to the light part so that it gives more depth and brings life to the drawing. Here I'm using a light pink or a peach tone for the remaining part, that is the lightest part of the skin. Also I am avoiding some part of his right cheek, which we will get to in a minute. I'm just going over the shadows again, making it more darker, thus giving it more depth. Now for the eyes on his face. I'm using a blue color pencil here and scraping off its lid little bit. Now I'm gonna take a piece of cotton and smudge it out like this. This will give a smooth finish to it. Or another method is you can first lay down a base layer of light blue color and then use a white color pencil to smoothen it out. Next I started working on his left eye. I really enjoyed working on this. I used some vibrant colors here. Once again I'm using the same method as in right eye, going over it slowly and made sure to leave some space for the highlights. I also gave it a touch of yellow to show the reflection of the flames. Moving on to the skin around the left eye, I used a light brown as the base layer. Then I used a dark brown for the shadow parts. Then I used a maroon, or you can use red color on the shadows to give it a more burnt look. And then I used orange for the remaining part of the burnt skin. I went over the remaining part of the skin using the same method I used while coloring the right side, leaving a small part of his left cheek which is engulfed by the flames. Moving on to his hair, I'm marking the outline of the hair with dark grey. For the darker parts of hair, I used a dark grey and went over it with a light grey. You see, I don't color the hair as it is in the reference image. What I'm trying to say is I don't use one single color for a lock of hair. I use individual strokes like this. For the darker parts, I'll do this with the dark grey, and then I'll do the same thing with a light grey for the remaining part. This gives it a really cool hair-like texture and a smooth transition from shadow to light. Working on the fireside here, I've used quite a few colors here, more than what you can see in the reference image. I'll mention them as we go through the process. It doesn't have to be the exact same color that I'm using, just make sure that they are close enough. I'm blocking out the darkest part using a black color pencil. Now I'm using a maroon tone for the base layer. We'll go from dark to light shade. Now it's a crimson red. Now I'm using a rose red. Now orange. And the lightest shade here is the yellow. As you can see, I created a separation in the middle for the highlights. Looking good so far. Next I started working on the neck. Now this is the darkest part of the entire drawing. It's completely black. But do not use just black because it looks flat. What I suggest is to use a dark brown for the shadows. Do not use black unless it's really necessary at some parts. Now I'll blend the brown with the dark blue. His entire right part is covered in ice. Now I will use a black color to blend the dark blue and brown to give it more depth. Now I'm using a light blue over the dark blue, and I'll finally blend the entire thing with a white color pencil. His left side is engulfed in flames, so I'm coloring it keeping that in mind. I'm sure you can follow this. Next I started working on the hero uniform. Here I'm using black for the darkest parts, then blending it with the dark blue followed by light blue. Now I'm working on the eyes. I'm not entirely following the reference image for this because I don't have so much patience as to copy the exact pattern of it. It's okay if it's completely random as long as it resembles ice crystals. I'm using dark blue to mark the edges wherever needed. Then I'm going over it with light blue. Like I said, it's okay if it's random. Just just don't overdo it. Finally, I'm blending the entire thing with the white color pencil to give it a smooth, glossy finish. Now, don't do what I'm doing here. That is, I'm experimenting with different colors, trying to bring it as close to what I have in mind. And that is when I realized I already have that color. It's purple. Yes, blue and red will give you magenta, which is close to purple, and purple is one of the most common color in any set of pencils. I don't know what I was thinking. Now I hope you can follow this part. Here I'm using dark brown for the darkest part, red, orange and yellow for the rest. Next we'll work on the flames. Now the basic colors required here are red, orange and yellow. Also white, which is the hottest part of the flame, but you can leave some space for the white part. Red is the most common color seen in flames, so you can use it more. Now listen, the single most important technique in coloring flames is blending. According to me, if you don't blend the colors properly, then it will just look like a line art. If you are using a wax based color pencils, then you can follow what I'm doing. But if you are using an oil based color pencils, then you have to take it slow by building layers upon layers. Don't burnish with one color, then you cannot use any other color on it. It won't allow you. So go slowly, layer upon layer, and you'll get a smooth finish. Okay, then I'll just keep quiet so that you can enjoy this time lapse. And we are done. I think it came out pretty good, and I think making his eyes more narrower reflects his emotions quite well. You know, his family background and things like that. It fuels his fire. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the result. I hope y'all were able to learn a thing or two from this. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section. If you have any suggestion, please feel free to leave them in the comments. It really helps me a lot. If you like this video, please like and share it. It means a lot to me. If you want to see more such drawings, subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I upload a video. If you want to follow me on the process and be updated on the things I work on, feel free to follow me on Instagram. Links in the description. Thank you so much for watching the video. Take care and I'll see you all soon.